Arthur demanded more FaceTime, so here he is, beginning of the show this time. Must have a good agent. Game 5 of the NBA Finals. We have a 3-2 series lead for the favorite with another cover that came down to the final possession. And are we on the verge of an NBA dynasty? And Angel Reese making some serious cash thanks to her knee bounds. We'll explain all that and much more straight ahead. I'm Doug Kezirian, and this is Hard Pass. For most of Game 5 of the NBA Finals, it looked like it would be a blowout, something we've seen frequently in these playoffs, the Thunder dominating an opponent at home. But the Pacers are not just any opponent. They've come back from many deficits, and we looked like we had another one on our hands. They cut an 18-point lead down to 2 in the fourth quarter. A home crowd in OKC having nightmares of Game 1 repeating itself, but the Thunder responded, punched back, and went on to win by double digits. Jalen Williams, the Scottie Pippen to SGA's Michael Jordan, 40 points on 14 of 25 shooting. SGA ho-hum, 31 points, 11 assists. And a large storyline for this one was Tyrese Halliburton, the all-star guard for Indiana, battling injuries, aggravated a leg injury in first quarter, finished with 0 field goals made, just 4 points, 6 assists, and 7 rebounds. Turnovers, a big factor as well. Pacers 22, Thunder 11. So that will not get it done on the road. And Rick Carlisle's crew, again, cut it to 2 in the fourth quarter, just couldn't get over the hump like they did in Game 1 and against other opponents earlier in this postseason. So the Pacers actually trail a playoff series for the first time this entire postseason. Now facing elimination, down 2 games to 3, headed home for Game 6. They need to win that and Game 7 on the road, while the Oklahoma City Thunder just 1 win away from an NBA championship that they have been building towards for several years. Sam Presti getting all these pieces together, and now he has a chance for it to be rewarded. We want to let us know your thoughts. Game 6, who wins? Who wins Game 6? Thunder, slight favorites on the road, -5. Halliburton injury, uncertain. So who wins Game 6? Let us know in the comments section. And what we often like to do is a little heat check. And boy, were there some good social media memes out there. Let's start with No Sirs by Tony Lopez. What is this in relation to? Well, the Pacers had those shirts throughout the playoffs, Yes Sirs, and the Thunder fans certainly channeling their sarcasm, if you will. Brick Center. Tyrese Halliburton, the first player in NBA Finals history to record 0 field goals, 0 steals, blocks, and then all those fouls in minutes and stuff like that. They took the picture of Halliburton with the choke sign at MSG. And yes, no field goals made for Tyrese Halliburton. Playmaker, taking it a step further, using the old Wilt Chamberlain picture when he dropped 100 in Hershey, Pennsylvania with no video proof. Halliburton with an impressive 0 field goals in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. So there's certainly some trolling out there. On the flip side, Thunder account on X being much more professional. Job's not done. And yes, OKC still has work to do. 1 win away, but up 3 games to 2 in the NBA Finals. But that's the thing that happens when a team hasn't done it yet. We doubt them because they haven't been flawless. And that's what I want to remind everyone with this Thunder team. Just because they haven't delivered a title yet, they're still a championship caliber team. And let's not forget that. They've answered the call in every situation so far in this postseason run. Yes, last year against Luka, they did not. But they matured, they learned from that experience, and they added the right pieces to the puzzle with guys like Alex Caruso, and then Isaiah Hartenstein's been massive. Down 2-1 against Denver in the second round of the Western Conference playoffs. Down in the fourth quarter and an underdog on the in-game money line in the betting market. They win. Game 4 against the Pacers in the NBA Finals. Down 2-1 in the series, down in the fourth quarter, underdog in the in-game money line. They respond. There's a confidence with this team. SGA and then the role players and its supporting cast, they have confidence in one another. They've been there before enough in their eyes, and they've executed. Even in the Western Conference Finals when the T-Wolves were up up in the fourth quarter, but trailing 2-1. So the Thunder led the series 2-1, but still had a very impressive game 4. And for game 5 in the finals here, it was all business. So I was impressed with what I saw from the Thunder in this game. They dominated start to finish. They covered the first quarter, first half, and game line. A little hairy at the end. And that's something that's funny. That was bad beat-ish. It was an 11-point game. Ben Mathurin attacking. The scrubs are in, or whatever you want to call it. The final possession of the game, Mathurin had a chance to get a meaningless bucket to trim the deficit from 11 to 9 and cover for all those underdog bettors plus 9.5, but he lost the ball, and then SGA took it to half court and dribbled it out. So it was almost an awful, gross beat on the minus 9.5 for the Thunder, who got a very lucky cover in game 4 on the road. So it would have been sort of the gambling gods evening things out, but it didn't happen. Thunder get the home cover. Now, they were the dominant team, but hey, Pacers cut it to 2 in the fourth quarter. Things certainly looked good for plus 9.5, but it was all for naught. Another big story from the basketball weekend was Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky recording her first career triple-double on Sunday, second youngest in league history in terms of age to accomplish the feat behind only Caitlin Clark, who did it twice at a younger age. So I'm not going to say I told you so, but I'm not going to not tell you that. And I don't think I motivated Angel Reese. No, I certainly know I did. But it does give me some validation that I was the one telling you she's catching too much heat, and she's a lot better than the critics think she is in terms of her skill set. Yes, I know the offensive blows around the rim, and it's perplexing, but I'm assuming that's going to come out in time. But she is solid in a lot of other areas. And don't give me the disclaimer. Well, against the Connecticut Sun, whatever, okay? Stop trying to tell me what she can't do, because she can do a lot, especially at age 23 in just her second year. She's leading the league in rebounding after leading the league in rebounding as a rookie, okay? If it's so easy, why aren't others doing it? In fact, why isn't her teammate Camila Cardoso doing it? She was the one drafted 3rd. Reese was 7th. She's the one who's 6'7". She doesn't have the motor that Angel Reese has. She's better on the block offensively, but she's so slow up and down the court. She's a limitation for the offense because they have to wait for her, and then she's, bogs it down. So I like her, and she seems like a wonderful person, and she doesn't move the needle like Angel Reese does, so she doesn't catch any heat, but she should be catching some heat because this team is really bad. There were higher expectations for her. That's why they drafted her 3rd overall out of South Carolina, and they won a national championship, and she was very good there. And maybe she has a bright future. She could be a force on the block, but she hasn't been in terms of production, and the roster's really bad. So Angel's doing everything. She takes it on herself, and she went out and got a triple-double. So props to her. And I've been racking my brain trying to think of the best comparison. And I know people say Andre Drummond or Clint Capella. It's not. It's a combination of Ben Wallace and Mason Plumlee. Okay? What do I mean by that? Well, Wallace has a motor like no other when he played for the Pistons. So does she. He was leading the league in rebounding, and so was she. So I think that comparison there, but I think it's got some Mason Plumlee in her game because it's not the blocks that Wallace has, the assists. So Plumlee can grab a rebound and lead the break. Okay? It's her agility at the 4 spot that's similar to Wallace in terms of his mobility and not just being tall and getting a bunch of rebounds. That's why I don't like Capella. That's why I don't like the Drummond comparisons. She can move, and she's agile, and as a 4, she's all over the place. And Plumlee can run the break, and she does that. And then he passes high post to low post from the free throw line area or the paint. She does a lot of that. He drives. That's her part of her game. So I really like, if you say a combo of those two, that's what I think Angel Reese is. And then obviously Wallace was an all-star multiple times, leading rebounder and things like that. She just doesn't have the blocks that he had, but she has the assists. So it's a lot of Ben Wallace if you take away the blocks and and change it to assists. But I think Plumlee's a nice, there's a little like 20% of Plumlee or 30% of Plumlee in her game. Let me know your thoughts. Am I crazy? Is that a crazy comparison? Or who do you think her game is modeled after? And let's, I think there's a lot of positive. Like I said, she was a genuine all-star as a rookie, probably headed there in her second year. But I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts in the comment section. One thing in terms of a heat check, props to Angel Reese actually trying to get a patent and copyright on the word knee bounds. She's all about it, and she's embraced it, and I'm all for that. So I've said it last week. I think it's a ridiculously clever term. I love the concept. It's hilarious. And she's trying to monetize it and sort of turn it maybe from a negative to a positive. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But the fact that it got caught, with filing the copyright and the patent was really good, A, reporting, and B, well done by her and her teams. And I love this meme, even though I don't even know the movie it's from. One Angel Reese account on X said, "The person who came up with me bounds, using it to insult Angel Reese, now seeing she's trademarked it." So we'll see what becomes of that. But congrats to her for the triple-double. That's obviously a cool feat, and that happened on Sunday. This segment is just what you think. It's when we talk a little sports betting, and obviously a lot of things going on in these NBA finals. We've been on a nice run, 3-1 so far in our prop bets. We launched this show, Hard Pass, after game 1. So the 4 picks were games 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we are 3-1. Here they are. Chet Holmgren, under 8.5 rebounds in game 2, just not getting it done early in the series. Hartenstein doesn't really look for his offense, under 7.5 points in game 3. He had 4 points in 18 minutes. We got there. Game 4, Ben Mathurin, off his 27-point performance, only scores 8. Remember, he missed 3 free throws in the final minute. That was key. Maybe could have gotten there. And Holmgren, we went the other way in game 5 because when Dags changed his starting lineup with both bigs, Holmgren doesn't have to change Miles Turner on the perimeter. Instead, down in the paint for rebounding, and he got double-digit rebounds. So we read that well. So we turn the page to game 6, this one in Indiana. I'm going to go back to the pick I had in game 3. Now, the market's adjusted, but I still think it's a good wager. Isaiah Hartenstein of the Thunder, under 6.5 points. That means he has to score fewer than 6.5, and you can't have a half point in basketball, so 6 points or fewer for Isaiah Hartenstein. It's the same logic I used earlier in the series. He does not look for his offense. He's all about assists, setting screens, dribble handoffs on those screens. He does get some points with the putbacks. He got fouled, missed a free throw. There are things like that happen you have to be careful of, but there's always a path and possibility of losing a wager. Nothing's guaranteed, but I just like the opportunities that he avoids. And he did score on the game's first bucket in game 5, but it still went under. It's gone under a few games in this series, except for game 1. So that'll be my game 6 pick, under 6.5 points. What's your favorite game 6 wager? Let us know in the comment section. We have a travel day, so game 6 is Thursday night. Let us know what you have. Is it maybe the point spread? Do you like the Pacers and the points at home? Do you like the over-under? Game went over on game 5, or another prop bet. Let us know. And if you want my thoughts on it, I will answer it on the next show, which is following game 6, Thursday night / Friday morning. This is an interesting thing. This happens in the Super Bowl a lot. We discussed the quarterback winning the MVP award or the team's money line. Right now, with the Thunder leading the series 3-2, headed on the road for game 6 at home, so they have 2 shots to win this. They are minus 1,600 to win the championship. That means 1 to 1,600. That means you have to lay $160 just to win 10. Or you can bet Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to win the MVP of the finals. That's only minus 550. I think there's extreme value in that. I do not see a scenario, even with Jalen Williams scoring 40 and being a solid player alongside SGA, I just don't see any chance how he wins the finals MVP. This is the league MVP we're talking about with SGA. He's had 30+ in all 3 wins so far in this series. Yes, J. Will had 40 in game 5, but SGA went for 31 with 10 assists. It's not like he had a bad game. He's not carrying them. Last year, we had Jaylen Brown get the award over Jason Tatum. This year's Eastern Conference Finals, Siakam got it over Halliburton. But this is SGA, the league MVP. There's a chance he doesn't get 1 vote, but he's not going to lose 4 out of... Someone's not going to get 4 out of the 7 votes or 5 out of the 9 votes needed to win this award ahead of him. Now, there's a chance the Thunder don't win. I get that, but you can always hedge out of it in game 7 and things like that. But I think minus 550 compared to minus 1,600, no brainer in terms of what I would definitely roll the dice that SGA is your finals MVP. He's been playing too well. He's the head of the snake. He always has the ball in his hands. He is the guy, and he's the league MVP. This is not a stretch by any means. J. Will, nice series. but this is a no-brainer. So I do think there's value at minus 550 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to win the NBA Finals MVP. That's a little betting 101. Take us behind the, you have to kind of weigh all these things, and I do think that's a bad number, all things considered. Distant replay is really fun because we have to turn back the clock and reminisce a little bit as sports fans. And Game 5 of these NBA Finals is on the anniversary of two big championships, both by the Golden State Warriors. So it was June 16th. It was the first in the Steph Curry era for the Golden State Warriors. And it was also the most recent one, the one they won in Boston when Curry won his Finals MVP in 2022. So let's go back to 2015 season, right? That was the year that they had a lot of doubters. Barkley was saying, you can't win with small ball, things like that. And sure enough, they did. I understand you have to kind of break a few eggs to make an omelet, but they came out of nowhere. It was the first year of Steve Kerr, and he unlocked a lot of things offensively. Mark Jackson had done a nice job defensively, and then Kerr unlocked it offensively, the Splash Brothers and everything. So we hadn't seen it yet. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but there were certainly doubters, and they played with their food a lot, right? And it reminds me of this year's Oklahoma City team, right? They were the betting favorites the second half of the year going into the playoffs, even though they were newcomers. This year, remember, the Celtics were the favorite for a lot of the year, and they were the defending champs. But the Thunder were different. And both teams, Thunder this year and the Warriors there, kind of seemed poised for a dynasty, a run, if you will. And this was really interesting when I did some research. Both teams trailed 2-1 on the road in the second round, so the conference semis in the West, and also the NBA Finals, and won Game 4 on the road. So that was really impressive, right? You have the critics, the doubters, if you will, and you definitely aren't dominating, running through and ripping through the postseason, but you still eventually get it done. We'll see if Oklahoma City can, but that Warriors team did. And then in the finals, down 2-1, Kerr goes to the death lineup, puts Andre Iguodala, his sixth man, into the starting lineup. They go small ball, and then they win 3 straight games. They end up winning in 6 games. So, very similar comparisons. Just want to throw it out there. They were down 2-1, just like Oklahoma City this year. And then in 2022, also the anniversary of their title, this was when they beat the Celtics. And before that, though, they were down 2-1 in Boston. Curry goes for 43 in Game 4. In that game, Boston led 94-90. Again, up 2-1, led 94-90. So led by 4 points, 5 minutes to go. Sound familiar, Indiana? And then Golden State rips off a 10-0 run to go up 100-94. Tatum only 8 of 23 in that game. Warriors win that game and win the next 2 to win the title in 6 games on June 16th. So it was an anniversary for the Warriors, and that was Curry's, like I said, first Finals MVP. And that pushed him into the echelon of where he is now. In the last couple years have pushed him even further, just given his domination, the impact he has on the game, and what he does away from the ball, and just his overall shooting ability. So, and let me know your thoughts in terms of what you thought of the Warriors back then and what you think, of them now, having seen Steph do it with Clay, then do it with Kevin Durant and Clay, and then Draymond, of course, along for the ride the entire time. So it's been an impressive run. So let me know your thoughts on this Warriors dynasty. June 16th, a big date in Warriors history, the first and most recent, maybe not the last, in the Steph Curry era in terms of NBA championships. Fans in the Stands is essentially our mailbox segment. We wrap up the show going through some of the questions you raised on our comment section here on the YouTube channel. Love the interaction. Join the conversation. It's what we always like to say. We definitely want your input, things you like, things you dislike, things you want to see more of, all that good stuff. So please let us know. This was in response to Game 4, where the Thunder rallied to win that and even up the series. Paul Sampagnaro said, OK's defense finally showed up. No choke by Indy. Shots sometimes don't drop. The Indy +6 and SGA under 34.5 really stings. Those are losing bets. Don't want to blame the refs, but it was a badly officiated game. Great show as usual. Thank you, Paul. Very kind to have those words. I agree. The Pacers could have easily executed better. They got outscored 12-1 to close Game 4. But I understand the sentiment. It's the refs are the refs. Sometimes they're bad both ways. Sometimes they're good both ways. the Pacers had their chances and were unable to execute. Now, OKC dominated game 5, and that's why they lead 3-2, but it was not the ref's fault. Boomer with the X handle Real Money K9. Hey, Doug, any plans to post these in podcast form at some point? Yes, great timing. We are currently live on YouTube Music. That just happened in the last day. And then hopefully by the end of this week, the podcast form will be available wherever you get your podcast. So we are growing, we are expanding, all that good stuff. Appreciate the interest. Obviously, you can always put in the earbuds and watch the YouTube show on lock. And so it is essentially a podcast, but I understand the hope for that. So we're going to make things easy for everyone. And that's how we try to do things across the board here. All right, that's going to do it for this show. Appreciate everyone. Hope you enjoyed this one. Nice to see Arthur the top of the show instead of the end of the show. You know, his agents were able to work something out. So we got there eventually. But the Oklahoma City Thunder lead 3-2, have a chance to win the NBA championship on Thursday in Indianapolis for Game 6. We will have a show following that game and maybe looking ahead to Game 7. A lot depends on Halliburton's health and whether Indiana can obviously show up at home like they did in Game 3, which was such an electric atmosphere. Good luck to everyone and enjoy the week, and we'll see you back here Thursday night or Friday morning.